A recall vote is held for a pro-independence Taiwan lawmaker. Is it a sign of democracy or playing politics?
I'm Hamioka, and here at World Cup Taiwan, where 18 different teams from 13 different countries will face off here on this football field.
And why going into this room will just end in tears? Hello and welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chen. We start with a vote in Taichung that will decide the political fate of a legislator known for his pro-independence stance. Polls have now closed. Here's Chen Bo-wei casting his ballot earlier in the day. He's a member of the Taiwan State Building Party, which represents a district in the island's second biggest city. Last year, he achieved a major upset by narrowly defeating a long-standing member of the opposition Kuomintang Party. Divya Gopalan reports on what's behind the contentious vote.
The campaigning went late into the night. The Taiwan State Building Party made its last push with songs and speeches to encourage voters to support its pro-independence legislator, Chen Bo-wei. Thousands of people attended the concert in Taichung, where he is at risk of losing his seat. The event caps off a 100-hour walk he undertook to garner backing to continue representing his district's people.
我是一个甲恁同款的平常人，有的时阵袂久啊，心内有哪会艰苦呢？啊，行总远哦，脚有哪会酸痛呢？啊，利用这道机会，有哪 test 度一下，看家己到底是毋是更替的人，还是机器人？行行会发现哦，我嘛是人呢。我爱讲一声感谢。
At around the same time, in another part of the city, members of the opposition Kuomintang Party held their own rally called Bid Farewell to Chen to encourage voters to unseat him. Last year, during the nation's elections in a major upset, the pro-independence legislator had captured the district from the incumbent whose family had a grip on the area for over 2 decades. On Saturday, the politicians from both sides of the recall cast their ballots. The opposition's Yin Khvat, who lost his seat to Chen last year, was one of the first to vote.
我们很平静，就一般投票嘛，都是当然是特别一点是说，因为我们第一次行使这个罢免权、罢免投票，就这样子，那跟一般投票是一样的。
Recalls are becoming a common tactic by both the Pan-Greens, who are aligned with the ruling DPP, and the Pan-Blues, who are largely seen as supporting opposition parties.
The recalls were originally pushed as a measure by the Pan-Green camp, particularly by younger members of the Pan-Green camp, as a way to recall these older KMT politicians that have been there for decades and sometimes have histories of corruption and are wrapped up in scandals to get them out of office. This began after the Sunflower Movement. But then after this was passed, after the benchmark to hold recall votes was lowered, this has become more used by the Pan-Blue camp as a way to target Pan-Green younger progressive legislators, sometimes the people that are pushing for the lowering of these benchmarks. And so I think it's one of the frames for understanding this has been then it's a generational conflict between younger and older voters.
But this vote is seen as especially contentious as it reflects the divide between those who are pushing for Taiwan's independence and those who encourage closer ties with China. Klein Wang and Divya Gopalan for TaiwanPlus.
NBA star Enes Kanter has once again called a foul on China, this time for its treatment of the Uyghur people. The Boston Celtics center posted another video on Twitter and Facebook protesting the policies of Chinese leader Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. TaiwanPlus reporter Ed Moon has the details.
Another day, another video from Turkish NBA star Enes Kanter. After taking aim at China's policies in Tibet earlier this week, this time it was the treatment of the majority Muslim Uyghur people that he had firmly in his sights.
There is a genocide happening right now. Right now, as I speak this message. Torture, rape, forced abortions, and sterilizations, family separations, arbitrary detentions, concentration camps, political re-education, forced labor. This is all happening right now to more than 1.8 million Uyghurs in the Xinjiang region in northern Western China.
Cantor also had pointed remarks for Muslim world leaders, who he said were complicit in their silence and failure to support the Uyghurs.
I'm talking about you, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, Saudi King Salman, United Arab Emirates Mohammed bin Zayed, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi. It's shameful and sad how you have decided to prioritize money and business with China over human rights.
Cantor's comments on Tibet had already seen Boston Celtics videos and broadcasts pulled by the NBA's Chinese partner. It is not the first time that the NBA has found itself in hot water with the Chinese authorities. 2 years ago, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, Daryl Morey, posted a tweet during the Hong Kong anti-extradition protests reading, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong."
来看中央广播电视总台央视体育频道发表声明称，美国 NBA 休斯敦火箭俱乐部总经理莫雷散布涉港不当言论，我们对此表示强烈反对，并决定从6号起暂停涉及该俱乐部的赛事转播等一切合作交流事宜。
That time, an apology from Morey was enough for the NBA to repair its relationship with its Chinese partners. But with Cantor seemingly determined to continue his campaign against what he views as China's violations of human rights, and his taking a direct aim at the country's leadership, the NBA may find itself facing a much stronger response from Chinese authorities in the coming days. Bill Kong and Ed Moon for TaiwanPlus.
It's not easy for Taiwan to make friends in the international community. Opposition from China means that the country has only a few official diplomatic allies. International outreach often involves things like semiconductors or milk tea diplomacy. But at the World Cup Taiwan tournament in New Taipei City this weekend, organizers are looking to build relationships through the beautiful game, football. Our reporter Jaime Okan is at a tournament in New Taipei City.
Now, what started off as clear weather has turned into overcast and a little bit of rain, but that hasn't dampened spirits. The purpose of this event is to showcase Taiwan's diversity in the foreign community, as well as to give it a taste of its culture and its music. The highlight of this event is the first ever inaugural match between Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and members of the diplomatic community, a sort of diplomatic dream team. But because of the pandemic, there is no audience, but that doesn't mean you can't catch in on the fun.
And Jaime caught up with the organizer of World Cup Taiwan, Fernando Ramos, to find out why the event is so important for both Taiwan and its international community.
This competition gives Taiwan an opportunity to be seen by the world. Right now, I don't know if you know it, but these games are being broadcasted in around 4 countries. We have transmission in Taiwan, Honduras, Paraguay, and North America. So I think that besides the fact that it's a great opportunity to develop football in Taiwan, which is becoming more and more popular, it's also an opportunity for the world to see Taiwan.
Why was it important to change the name from Copa America to World Cup Taiwan?
I think that the main reason why we did that is because when it originally started, we only have 6 teams, which all came from the Central American region and the Caribbean. But every year, we had more and more countries wanting to participate. So this year, around half of the participants that are in the competition come from different regions of the world. Like in Europe, we had participants from Africa last year. So I think that to reflect the diversity of the participant teams, it was important to change the name.
So how do you feel right now?
Well, I have to say that it's a combination of emotions because, for one side, you're kind of nervous. I don't think that we ever had, such an international exposure, with media especially. My family is watching my games, right now on my TV. So there's a pressure to get everything right. And there's always going to be little slips up. So we're trying to compensate. But I'm also very excited because I think that this game is really important for the foreign community, and I think that it also gives the foreigners in Taiwan an opportunity to be seen by the Taiwanese community, so I'm really happy about that.
American actor Alec Baldwin says his heart is broken over the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of his movie, Rust. She was killed after Baldwin fired a prop weapon that was loaded with live rounds. Reports have emerged of allegedly unsafe conditions on set in the weeks leading up to the incident. Louise Watt has more.
Alec Baldwin, distraught after the accidental shooting of a cinematographer on the set of a movie he is starring in and producing. He says there are no words to express his shock and sadness after the death of 42-year-old Helena Hutchins and says he is fully cooperating with police. This is the set in the desert on the outskirts of Santa Fe, where the actor on Thursday fired a prop gun, hitting Hutchins in the chest and director Joel Souza, who had been standing behind her. Souza has since been released from hospital. According to a search warrant filed in court, an assistant director handed Baldwin the weapon, not knowing it was loaded with live rounds. Reports have since emerged of allegedly unsafe conditions on the set of the Western movie called Rust. Some crew members had reportedly walked off set before the shooting in protest. In recent weeks, the union representing some crew members threatened to strike over issues including long hours and safety. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins was named a Rising Star of 2019 by the magazine American Cinematographer. She was born in Ukraine and grew up on a remote Soviet military base. She worked on documentary films in Eastern Europe before moving to Los Angeles to study film and embark on a promising movie career. Her death has sent shockwaves through the movie industry. Director Kate Devaney, who had worked with Hutchins, said such an incident was inconceivable.
Just utter disbelief and tears, it's like, this is insane. I mean, it's what I've been working in the film industry for 13 years, and I've worked on a lot of projects that had weapons, and it's just how there's 10 different things that go, there's like all these different safety measures is what I'm trying to say. And how could even, half of those just sort of slip by? I mean, it's stunning.
Movie sets usually have strict rules over the use of prop weapons, but tragic accidents have happened. In 1993, Brandon Lee, the son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, died during filming of The Crow. He was shot by a gun that was supposed to fire blanks. Safety protocols improved dramatically in the wake of Brandon Lee's death almost 30 years ago, which leaves everyone asking, how could this happen? Patrick Chen and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Sometimes you just need to let it all out, and now people in Madrid have a space dedicated to just that, crying. Philip Brossard gives us a tour.
There's no shame in crying. This is what the Crying Room was created for, to help remove the stigma around mental health. When you enter the room, you're greeted with signs saying, "Enter and cry," and "I have anxiety too." In the Crying Corner, you'll find a bank of phones with suggestions of people to call, including a psychologist. The name of the project comes from a Spanish expression that is dismissive of mental health.
I think it's a really fun take on it, to call it the Crying Room, because of the Spanish expression, if you want to cry, go to the crying room. So it's kind of stigmatized to cry in Spain, as in many other countries.
Spain's government has recently committed more money to help improve the public's ideas around mental health services. And in the Crying Room, the message is loud and clear. Everybody hurts sometimes, and it's the strong who let it show. Patrick Chen and Philip Brossard for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up after the break, we'll tell you why this song got a Taiwan-based singer and a Malaysian rapper banned in China. Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. A reminder of our top story. There's a vote in Taichung today that will decide the political fate of a legislator known for his pro-independence stance, and the result will come out tonight. Malaysian singer and songwriter Namawi and Australian singer Kimberly Chan have been removed from Chinese social media platforms after they released a duet taking aim at a country's online nationalists. The Mandarin language song called Fragile has racked up more than 13 million views worldwide. It mocks the reactions of Chinese internet users to perceived slights against China. And while it's clear the song is taking aim at Beijing, the word China is not in the lyrics. For more on this, our reporter Rath Wang spoke with Taiwanese celebrity Chen Jiaxing. Chen, who is also known as Brother Caramel, is a close friend of Namawi and Kimberly. He explained why China has taken such offense to the term fragile heart.
这个可能对其他国家的人他们不是那么了解，可是以台湾人来说很清楚，就是中国的玻璃心。当然香港人也知道，马来西亚人。东亚文化的人都会知道什么是玻璃心，可是中国不一样啊！中国人是无法接受人家开他玩笑。中国是一个没有幽默感的民族，就是你跟他开个小玩笑，他说入华，你入华了，你就说哦，我是台湾人，我是香港人，好，你港独，你台独，你入华了，他们的心就破碎了，就像玻璃这样，啪，摔在地上就碎成一地。可是变成说这个玻璃心碎，变成是非中国人，或搞不好有些中国人也会自嘲这种。中国人自尊心过度的脆弱，过度的傲慢，一稍微开一下玩笑，或者说你的不好，你就开始产生很大的自卑感。那因为很自卑，然后产生很大的反弹，就变得非常的自傲，非常狂妄。所以玻璃心碎呢，变成是现在我们觉得说，不管是中国网民，甚至中国的政府、中国共产党，一下子你讲他怎样，他就玻璃心碎了。
What implications does this ban have on Taiwanese and other celebrities in the Chinese-speaking world?
因为对台湾人来讲，这种入华日常啊，这是我们的日常生活。然后被中国欺负啊，中国压迫或者中国打压，对台湾人来讲说，这就是每天都会发生的事情嘛。那个共军的飞机这样绕来绕去的，对我们来讲就很习惯了。可是很多国家，尤其是西方世界的国家，他们并不清楚说中国有多野蛮。中国会觉得说要仗势欺人，要欺负弱小国家。虽然台湾一点都不小，我希望说这首歌可以让很多人觉醒，就是华人世界或是西方世界就知道说，中国是非常严重的威胁，威胁到就是连娱乐圈的人，通常不太问政治，娱乐圈的人都要写一首歌出来批判中国政府。
Knowing both of them as a celebrity yourself, what is their reaction? Do you think this will affect their singing activities in the future?
我觉得他们两位对所有的亚洲市场，或是所说的华人歌手做一个很好的示范。你身为音乐创作者，一个艺术表演者，你面对不公不义的时候，或是你面对弱势被欺负的时候，你怎么可能只要赚钱而已？你没有道德良知。所以我觉得他们做一个很好的示范，是说他们可以站着赚钱。他们今天会做这首歌，一定也想过了。然后微博被封掉，还有 FB 还有 IG 嘛，他都唱给你听的。然后他们不会担心说你有中国市场就活不下去。当你有才华的话，你的市场是全世界。
A vintage train in Taiwan is coming back to life on Saturday. The Breezy Blue, Taiwan Railways Administration's own tourism train, will launch a route in the south. The train began running in 1953, and many Taiwanese have fond memories of riding it to school with the windows down and a strong smell of diesel. Last year, it was taken out of service for renovations, and now it is strictly for tourists. TaiwanPlus takes a look at the island's last diesel locomotive. A mountain climber from Taiwan has become the first woman to climb one of the world's highest mountains and one of the most dangerous in a fall. Yin Khvat has the story.
Proudly holding up the Taiwan flag after reaching the summit of the world's third highest mountain. Grace Tsang on Saturday became the first woman to reach the peak of Kangchenjunga in fall, a season known for having especially difficult snow conditions. The 28-year-old is the only female member of the team to scale the remote mountain high on the Nepalese-Indian border. They are the first climbing team to reach the summit in fall in 17 years. Tsang shared her success in a video on Facebook.
昨天跟今天的好天气就好顺利的领，好想哭。
Over the past 5 months, Tsang has conquered 4 mountains over 8,000 meters, including the world's highest, Mount Everest. Kangchenjunga has an elevation of 8,586 meters and is smaller only than Everest and K2. It is known as one of the most difficult 8,000-meter climbs.
这高海拔的话，它最困难、最危险的地方，第一个雪崩，这是在什么世界级的顶尖好手都无法避免的。所以说，这种前后队友之间的互相帮助，这很重要。
Tsang's next step is the world's second highest mountain. She aims to become the first Taiwanese to scale K2 in winter, a notoriously difficult challenge. Temperatures of 70 degrees below zero await her. James Rayner and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for watching TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chan. We leave you with some images of the International Contemporary Art Fair in Paris after more than a year of COVID-19. Check out the TaiwanPlus News app for this show and more. Stay safe and see you next time.